I'm Greg Keller. I'm the co-founder and chief strategy officer of JumpCloud. Yeah, we actually have done a pretty extensive survey, generally of a global survey of IT professionals, and we found some incredibly interesting statistics, just stuff that was a little orthogonal to how we were thinking about just the state of being. And one thing that we found was this: 60% of those that were surveyed were under the proclamation that security is the #1 part of their job now. Now that sounds, pretty obvious. This comes on the tails, though, of a shift over the last 2 years of them undergoing probably the biggest transformation in their careers as IT professionals, getting everybody to work from home. So incurring that stress, then the hangover of we need now to secure this whole environment in ways that we're not familiar with. And what we found was, as part of this surveying that we did, this is now really degrading, just the state of mental being. Like, they now have the responsibility of working against things they've never done before, trying to harden infrastructure, devices, things that were once kind of easy to do in the office when they could walk over to people or touch machines. Now it's all virtual, right? So huge amount of information and learning from the survey that we did. Yeah, we use a cacophony of different types of tools. So first, just the general productivity stuff that you'd normally have, the Slacks and obviously Zoom and Google Workplace and these kinds of things. One thing on the Google side that we've started to implement is focus time. So a couple of things. One, calendaring means everything. Everybody is hyper scheduled in this now new normal, right? Everything is now just an element on your calendar, and these things have stacked up. So Google has introduced things like focus time that give you an ability to, this is my time to just block out the noise so I can focus on my work product, right? Not just responding to meeting and suffering through these things. So that's point one on the normal labor, collaboration side. On the more personal basis, each and every one of our employees gets a subscription to a product called Calm. What we've done with this product, which generally teaches in a very simplified manner the practices of meditation, it gives our employees just a place to take care of themselves, defocus from the stresses and the work of the day, and ground themselves. Call it a hangover, a symptomatic hangover of, again, the pandemic, IT staff trying to figure out, scramble, how do we suddenly have to manage our employees when they're not in these brick and mortar offices. Many of these companies now, including JumpCloud, by the way, have changed their whole working thesis to, we're a fully remote company now. There is no brick and mortar anymore. So everything is done remotely. The new sort of layer, the new stresses, so to speak, that have incurred are, my God, how am I going to guarantee that that worker is safe and secure? How can I protect my company? I knew how to do it back then when we were in the office. I know how to protect my routers and all the communication vehicles. Now, how can we do this? So when you think security as the overarching blanket of the new, call it incurred stress, it really gets down to some very practical things that they're working on or attempting to. Number one, patch management for devices. You think, well, that's kind of an easy problem to solve, right? It isn't. And it's not just the mechanics of your MacBook or a Windows machine and hitting a button to patch itself. It's getting the employees to respond to it, to know that that is important for the company. You need to help us patch the machines that we've given you. That is your battle space. That is your new office. We can't protect you through our routers anymore, right? So getting employees to kind of respond and do those things is a major challenge, big stress incurred by the IT workforce. I think the #1 thing that we have learned and started to put into practice is you, as an organization, over the next 10 years, frankly, the next 2 years, can't get by with traditional old school HR practices, right? It's not just about joiner, mover, leaver principles. You hire somebody with traditional recruiting methods. you put them in the organization and you evaluate them through traditional models so they can move through the organization. And of course, offboarding, the leaving function. All of these, call that the trifecta of people management. All that has changed with the thread going through them of, are you okay? Are you okay? The mental wellness and sort of mental health, that it's not just about illness and physical health, it is about their well-being. You need to have people leadership in place and teaching the right practices and the right manner to respond to your employees. One note about this, none of us, me, you, our general managers, they're not mental health care professionals. They're not clinicians in this. So there's a part of this that, while we'll never teach them to be, that is not their job in life, they have to have that level of empathy. And to do that, you need people management that can help train and institute those foundations of, the first and foremost, are you okay? And that's where all good conversation should lead.
Greg, thanks so much.
Oh,